Hello everyone, welcome to Kamat's Academy. Please subscribe my channel. Today we are going to start with the chapter Ratios. Myself Vignesh K. Kamath. Let's begin with the Ratios chapter. Let's see what is the meaning of ratio. Ratio is a relationship between two quantities of same kind. Please highlight this, two quantities of same kind. Okay, this is very important line. It is a relationship between two quantities of same kind. I'll explain you what is this two quantities of same kind mean. Okay, it's expressed in the form, one second, yes, it's expressed in the form as A is to B. So ratios is expressed in the form A is to B. I hope you know the fraction A by B can be converted into the form of ratio, that is A is to B, and vice versa. If A is to B is given, you can write in fraction form A by B. Please note this. Okay, A is to B is equal to A by B, or else the vice versa form A by B is equal to A is to B. Okay, let's see with the example 3 is to 1. Okay, these two dots A and this colon symbol, that is called as is to. Okay, A is to B, 3 is to 1, 4 is to 1 are the examples of ratio. Okay, now let's discuss two quantities of same kind. The two quantities of same kind means rupees is to rupees, or it can be in the form kgs is to kgs, or it can also be in the form minutes is to minutes. See, both minutes, kgs should be the same. That is nothing but two quantities of same kind. Let's see with the problem which can give you a clear idea about two quantities of same kind. Okay, Mr. X completes the job in 2 hours and Mr. Y completes the same job in 40 minutes. Look at this, 2 hours and 40 minutes. We can't write in the form of ratios because first one is in hours, second one is in minutes, right? I hope you are observing this. Now what we can do is we can convert this 2 hours in minutes format. Okay, now how can we convert that? I'll teach you. You know 1 hour is 60 minutes, right? Now what is 2 hours? Cross multiply. Okay, 120 minutes, right? I hope you are getting. Cross multiply, if you cross multiply 60 into 2, you are going to get 120. Okay, now this 120 minutes we got. Excuse me. Now we can we express in the form of ratios now? Yes, because both are in minutes format. 120 is to 40, both are in minutes, right? So 120 is to 40 in the form is in the form of A is to B, right? 120 is to 40, 120 is to 40 can be written as 120 divided by 40, right? A is to B is equal to A by B. I hope you remember this, right? Cancel these two zeros. 4 ones are 3s are 12. So the ratio is 3 by 1 and the fraction is 3 by 1. This fraction can be converted in ratio as 3 is to 1. The vice versa form of this. Okay, 3 is to 1 is the ratio. Find the ratio is given, right? Mr. X completes the job in 2 hours and Mr. Y completes the same job in 40 minutes. Keep the note of the keep a note on conversion. Okay, 1 hour is 60 minutes, 2 hour is 120 minutes. Okay, now I hope you got the knowledge of the two quantities of same kind. Let's move on with the next concept, antecedent and consequent. We'll consider a fraction a by b. Okay, the numerator part, this is the numerator, right? Numerator, and this is the denominator. Now the numerator part is called as antecedent and this denominator part is called as consequent. I hope you are getting me. The numerator part of the fraction is the antecedent and the denominator part of the fraction is the consequent. Okay, we'll see with an example. 2:3. Now to find the antecedent and consequent, you can do this directly also, but we'll see detail. Okay, 2:3 can be expressed in the fraction also. 2/3. Now what is the antecedent? The numerator is the antecedent, right? So the antecedent is 2 and the consequent is 3. I'm writing in the short form. I hope you're getting me. 2 is the antecedent, 2 is the numerator, right? So it is the antecedent, and 3 is denominator, right? So it is consequent. We look at the second example. 5:2 can be expressed as 5/2. 5 is the antecedent and 2 is the consequent. I hope you are clear with the antecedent and consequent concept. Let's move with the next concept. Inverse ratio. Inverse ratio means A:B. If A:B is a ratio, inverse ratio of A:B is B:A. Okay, this B will come front and A will go back. Inverse. Okay, B:A is the inverse ratio of A:B. A:B will give B:A when it is an inverse ratio. Okay, please note this. Let's look with the example. Find the inverse ratio of 2:3. As I said, A:B, if it is expressed in inverse ratio, then it will give you B:A. Same thing, A:B will give B:A if it is in inverse ratio. So this is in normal ratio, you should express in inverse ratio, right? So this will be in 3:2. Answer is 3:2. Inverse ratio of 2:3 is 3:2. I hope you are clear with inverse ratio. Please mark this. Please note this in your diary. Okay. Let's move with the compound ratio. Compound ratio A:B into B:C into C:A. In between two ratios, there is a multiplication symbol. Okay. 1/2 into 2/3 into 3/4 into 4/5. This is the compound ratio. Here it is given in ratio. I have expressed as fraction. 1/2 into 2/3 into 3/4 into 4/5. Okay. 2 gets cancelled. 3 gets cancelled. 4 gets cancelled. Remaining will be 1/5. Now this is not the answer. You have to express in ratio form, right? So answer is 1:5 is the answer. Please note this in diary. A:B, or you can write in fraction A/B into B/C into C/A, or else you can write in this format also. A:B into B:C into C:A. I hope you are clear with the compound ratio. Now we'll move on with duplicate ratio. In this duplicate ratio, if A:B is a ratio, duplicate ratio of A:B will be A squared is to B squared. Okay, A squared is to B squared. Now we'll see with an example. 3:4 is a ratio. Now what is the duplicate ratio of 3:4? 3 squared is to 4 squared. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. Okay, 9:16 will be the answer. I hope you are getting me. 3 is to 4 is the ratio. Duplicate ratio is a squared is to b squared, right? So 3 squared is to 4 squared. You have to do 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, right? So the ratio is 9 is to 16. I hope you're clear with the duplicate ratio. Now we'll move on with the subduplicate ratio. Please mark this in, note this in diary. Okay. Now, subduplicate ratio. Subduplicate ratio here, if A is to B is a ratio, subduplicate ratio of A is to B will be root of A is to root of B. Square root. Square root of A is to square root of B. Please mark this in diary also. Okay. Please note this. Now let's see with an example. Root of A is to root of B, right? The formula, the identity. Let's see with the example 4 is to 9. Okay. Subduplicate ratio of 4 is to 9. Subduplicate ratio. If this 4 is to 9 is a ratio, right? How can we express in the form of subduplicate ratio? So 4 is to 9 can be written in the form, for subduplicate ratio, square root of 4 is to square root of 9. Now what is square root of 4? 2 square is 4, right? So answer, root of 4 is 2 and root of 9 is 3. 2 is to 3 is the answer. Root of 4 is to root of 9. Look at this identity, right? Root of A is to root of B. Square root of 4 is to square root of 9. So square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3. 2 is to 3 is the answer. I hope you are clear with the subduplicate ratio. Now we'll move on with triplicate ratio. If A is to B is a ratio, the triplicate ratio of A is to B will be A cube is to B cube. A cube is to B cube. Now let's look with the example. Find the triplicate ratio of 1 is to 2. This is a question. Okay. 1 is to 2 is a ratio. Now how to express 1 is to 2 in triplicate ratio form? A cube is to B cube. We know the identity. Please mark this or note this identity in your registers. Okay. 1 cube is to 2 cube. This is in triplicate form now. Okay. 1 cube is to 2 cube. Now 1 cube will remain as 1 and 2 cube will be 8. 1 is to 8 is the answer. Triplicate ratio of 1 is to 2 is 1 is to 8. 1 cube is 1 is to 2 cube is 8. I hope you are clear with triplicate ratio. Now let's move with the subtriplicate ratio. In subtriplicate ratio, you can see that if A is to B is a ratio, the subtriplicate ratio of A is to B will be cube root of A is to cube root of B. Please note this, cube root, okay, not normal root. It's cube root of A is to cube root of B. Okay, let's look at the example. Find the subtriplicate ratio of 8 is to 27. Before that, note this in register. Okay, subtriplicate ratio of 8 is to 27. So this is in ratio form, right? We have to express this 8 is to 27 in subtriplicate ratio form. Now what is the identity? Cube root of 8 is to cube root of 27. Now 2 cube is 8, right? 2 is to 3 cube is 27. So the answer is 2 is to 3. Cube root of 8 is 2 is to cube root of 27 is 3. So the answer is 2 is to 3. I hope you are clear with the subtriplicate ratio as well as triplicate ratio. Okay. In duplicate ratio and subduplicate ratio, the only difference is a square is to b square, and in subduplicate ratio there is root of a is to square root of b. Okay. In triplicate ratio there is a cube is to b cube, and in subtriplicate ratio there is cube root of a is to cube root of b. I hope you are clear with this. I hope you have enjoyed this session. Thank you. Please subscribe. Please hit on the like button. Please share with your friend, and please comment how was my teaching, and please comment if you have any doubts relating to the ratios chapter. Okay. Thanks for watching, and please keep on supporting.